afternoon, ladies and gents. Something special now. At the conventions over the last few years, people from Queen's past and present have been with us and joined us to tell their stories of working with Queen. The gentleman that we're going to bring on stage now is a producer extraordinaire. This man produced Queen's biggest selling single, Another One Bites the Dust. So I'm sure he'll be able to tell us how the recordings went. It really is exciting. Can you please give a warm convention welcome to Mack?
Chair for my jacket.
Are you comfortable?
No.
That's a good start, isn't it?
It's my favorite pastime, speaking in front of a lot of people.
Well, everyone here loves you, Mack, so they'll be very warm and kind to you.
How about you?
Okay, thank you very much for joining us. It's really special to have you here. So, Mack, you were the in-house engineer at Munich's Musicland Studios. Did the studios belong to Giorgio Moroder?
The studios belonged to Giorgio, and I was the in-house engineer for some years, but then I got independent and went on tour with Electric Light Orchestra, which some people might know. And yeah, I was working with Gary Moore in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
And I got a call from Giorgio actually saying, Queen is in the studio in Munich, and you should be there. So I called up, and nobody really knew anything about it. You know, a couple of days later, same deal, and I figured I just spend the money, get on the plane, and see what's happening. So I just wandered in the studio. It's already, which you know probably. And he said, well, you know, there's nothing really going on. We're coming just off a tour from Japan, and they have to hang here due to the old free Thatcher textiles, I guess, have to hang for 2 more weeks. And yeah, so that was it.
Yeah. Back.
Speak further to speak loud and clearly. I've got no clue about these things. Yeah, so anyways, I basically set up a regular session, drums, bass, guitar, keyboard. I never thought twice about it. Dorfling's open, and Freddie and Wally and some other 8 people wandering in, and I was completely stunned. I mean, the only thing, to be quite honest, I saw at that time was the video of Somebody to Love, and I thought, this is really scary. You know, this person, Freddie, that is, you know, he's at the time everybody was to be, you know, on a video you had to plug in your instrument, the amp light had to be on, and you had to pretend it's really happening, which it actually wasn't. And Freddie having the headphones around his neck and not caring a hoot about anything. So, you know, for me it was a little weird. What would this person be like? And all he said was really, you've got these famous beer gardens here, should we go for a pint? And Freddie, you know, the ballerinas, the Hawaiian shirt, the matching shorts, and me on his arm, and 8 people behind us. And we're walking through like this beer garden, sort of a bit bigger than this here, right through the middle, and you know, I was kind of uncomfortable because, you know, everybody turned around. It's kind of like in Wales if you go to a pub and they don't know you, you know, everything shuts up. Oh, fucking hell. So, after a couple of years, we went back to the studio, and he said, Bratty, give me an acoustic guitar, and to me he said, I apologize, I cannot play a guitar, but never mind, I've got this idea, can I try it? And you know, so in the course of like 4 hours, the whole thing was on tape. And it was, Freddie said, let's finish it real quick before Brian comes, because I tell you, Brian says, I don't like it. And, you know, sure enough, the next day Brian came in and Freddie said, I've got something, it's really good, and do you want to listen to it? And Brian, I don't think I like it. So, you know, this is lasted for a while.
What were your first impressions of them?
All together as a band. Mm-hmm. I thought, I mean, musically playing together, incredible. They're really good. It's one of the best bands I've ever worked with, except, no, there's no except.
Good answer.
What type of relationship did you have with them, work and outside of work?
Well, I mean, first of all, there's no relationship. It's kind of if you meet somebody and you think, you know, he or she is really cool, and you don't really dare to ask for the phone number or are you here all week? And, you know, you have to learn to, yeah, you know, just to fathom out what everybody's like. And so it took actually quite some time. I mean, with Fred it was no problem at all, because he did his thing and said, you know, I've got to go out, I've got to go to clubs to go to, and I don't have any time to deal with this recording business. So I was more or less stuck with John. That's how another one, Bites the Dust, came together. He had this riff where I asked him, might be a little bit too close to a song She Cares, you know, because it's basically just 2 notes different, or 1.5 to be quite honest. And he wanted to put it down or to record it, and Roger wasn't really keen on jamming on that, playing, and Brian, I think he was out with some girl. Did I say that? No, I didn't. But anyways, I made a tape loop, and we had the beat, and John put the thing, this bass line down, and added a few bits, and then there was, for quite a while, there was nothing. And I figured, you know, Munich's nice and everybody's out, and I'm getting paid, so I better should be doing something. And the inherent German efficiency, you know, pushed me to, you know, what can I do in order to structure the track? So I put on backwards piano noises in order not to piss off Brian. You know, if I could have played guitar notes, you know, it's like diplomatic mission called in, and you know, you're out of the country and stuff like that. So eventually the whole thing sort of just came to life in a fairly raw form, and Freddie all of a sudden was like, you know, coming from disco, this is kind of disco, I really like this, and you know, the whole thing was then done, put on the back burner, and somebody, I guess it was Elektra at the time, put it out. And the next time I would travel to America, the first black person said, "My man, you know, he did our song," you know, and I was like, what? I didn't even know.
Queen had a certain sound when you first met them. How did you convince them to explore other avenues?
I think I was brave enough. That actually, that different type of sound was during the recording of Crazy Little Thing, actually, which was the first thing we did. And I didn't really have the time for an elaborate setup that most people then did, like 14 microphones and a snare drum and, you know, crap like that. I just like the real, totally basic. And they didn't really want to listen to it. And Freddie said, we haven't got, we didn't even get any sounds. And I said, well, I got sounds. Yeah, no, we all get our sounds individually. And I said, well, Roy Thomas Baker, he must have gotten sounds for you. And Freddie looked at me and said, darling, Roy couldn't mix a cake. I don't write that down. But anyways, so I went back and forth a bit, and I said, would it hurt you really too much to give it a listen? And said, yeah, all right then. And it's 3.5 minutes out of your life, so I listened to it, and then it stuck. So basically simple.
There's a question that's been around fandom for quite some time. Did Andy Gibb go into the studio and record Play the Game with them?
Yeah, that was a pretty tragic moment. He was there, and I think a lot of high percentage alcohol and cocaine, and I don't know what. I don't do these things, so I couldn't really tell you. Yeah, he was there, and he tried to sing it, and it was very iffy. I mean, the little guy was under high pressure too, you got to admit that, but overall, not so sure about his capabilities there in level. It might be okay for nowadays disco music.
Ah, right. So while we're talking about Play the Game, there was a party in Munich, and Freddie, did he film the party, which was going to be the video for Play the Game, but it was banned? Do you recall anything about that?
No, I don't.
No. Okay, no, but again, it's just rumour, so...
I mean, there was stuff filmed all the time, but I mean, the only serious business or two was actually Save Me and something else. Living on My Own, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, okay, thanks. Another one bites the dust, we've just been talking about it, is Queen's biggest selling single. When it was recorded, were you aware that it was going to be this massive international hit?
No, absolutely not. I thought it was, it was a thing you'd done, and that was it. There was no real second thoughts. I mean, the band per se, except from Freddie, and the other half of the band didn't like it. So, that it actually ended up on the album. It was due to some brave person at Elektra in Los Angeles who actually thought it was a single and was worth putting out. So I don't even know who that person is, but thanks.
It done well, didn't it? Yeah. How did you feel about receiving a Grammy nomination for the game? And Producer of the Year.
Well, actually, yeah, I was chuffed. I mean, I liked it, and no, I was overwhelmed because you don't think about that. But what really pissed me off was that Sailing from Christopher Cross actually got the whole thing, and thought it's probably not right. Whether there might be the Christian League or the Jewish Union or whoever. Something fishy about it. If you're in the charts, 9 different charts, even the country charts, if you're number 1 for such a long time, and then somebody has like this sappy thing going, well, it's probably all right, and it's really, really good, and I don't know about these things, but it was just not really. It was a little disheartening about believing in the industry and how they choose things. I mean, Oscars or whatever, you name it. So it's like.
I find The Game is a very short album in length. Did you have any input in that, or was it the band's intention for just over half an hour album?
There wasn't anything else to do. No, it was like, that's enough. I can't think of anything, and basically that was it.
You got mentioned in Dragon Attack. How did that come about? Was it your idea, or did Brian say, I'm going to include Mack in the lyrics?
No, you see, the Dragon Attack sort of came together pretty much exactly the same way as Another One Bites the Dust. It was there were only 3 bars, which in rock music is a lot, but 3 bars were played, and the rest sort of just strung together. Nowadays, you would have to heavy fingering with cut and paste. Would be actually fairly easy, like 84 edits to start with, just for the backing drums. And no, it just happened. Freddie sort of made it up. Nothing to do with me or Brian or anybody.
Same with Freddie. Did he come up with any wild ideas in the studio? Like, there's a story about he wanted to hear the wildebeest on the record. Is that true? Did he come up with anything else?
Yeah, that's actually a quote from, I think, from 40 Towers, John Cleese. But you want herds of wildebeest sweeping from left to right, over the horizon, or something like that. But he liked things like that.
Did you socialise with the band when you were working with them?
Yes. I mean, there was the, what's it called, Sugar Shack, where the straight people went, and then there was called Together, I think, or something else, where other people went. And yeah, it was basically the office where you go and relax a little bit and try not to think about what hasn't been done this day.
Do you remember any big fallouts? Any ideas that were coming about and one of them didn't want to go that way?
Yes, I do. I think I was actually one of the few people who were allowed to sit in and sort of trying to cut each other's throat. But I don't elaborate on that.
What would provoke those fallouts? What kicked it all off?
Actually, little things about where to put guitars, where not to put guitars, and what one thought about guitar playing anyways, and about hairdos, and who would wear white jeans, important things.
So Hot Space followed the game, and it wasn't as successful. How did you feel about that? What ideas were took to Hot Space that you think didn't work?
Oh yeah, I think still to this day it worked all right. It was just pretty much 6 months ahead of its time. If you think about Olivia Newton-John, Physical, and all these neck warmer things, and that stuff. That was all over the place, and I think we were just a wee bit too advanced.
So was it a very different atmosphere recording Hot Space to the game?
Yes, it was. It was all like a sandwich, because at the time the band was had problems, marital problems, and whenever somebody was in the studio, somebody else would call in and say, "Is he here?" Capital H, capital E. Okay, he's here, so I won't be coming in. And so that was pretty much hindrance. Or is he skiing, or is he in Bali, or things like that. So it was. It took a very, very long time. That's actually where my wife came up with the saying: "It's easier to conceive and give birth to a child." Carry and give birth to a child than getting this album ever done.
Right, so from Hot Space you went to the Works.
That's where he came from.
Yeah, we've got Mack with us who's going to be joining us shortly.
Hot Space Freddie.
So, so you went to Los Angeles for the Works. How different was that, being in America to Germany? What was the different distractions there?
There was the strip club next door. No, it's true. If you needed to look for John, then he's at the office.
Sounds good, this office. We think we all want a job there.
Yeah, actually, they have, like all the Americans always have their policies. For instance, there since it's like topless and whatnot, there's no alcohol. But we were actually up on the level, and we got like vodka tonics and stuff, so, you can tell how long we've been there. It's totally wrong, actually, I don't recommend it.
When you were recording the works, there was a song called Let Me In Your Heart Again, which was rejected for the album, which is now going to be on the new Queen compilation album in November. Can you remember anything about that song? Why it didn't work out and go onto the works?
Freddie didn't, he liked the idea, but he didn't like the execution, and there wasn't really any time to sort of get it properly together. I mean, my opinion about all these re-releases and stuff, there's always a reason why, look at John Lennon, Yoko Ono, what she put out. There's a reason why somebody has a good idea, but it's never really thought through, and so you just leave it at home. It's like your bad raincoat, or, you don't want to be seen with it.
Okay, that's interesting. I wondered why it didn't go on the album. So with the Highlander tracks, what can you remember about that? How were they written, and how did you work with those?
Basically, like Princess of the Universe or something like that, I just made up, because that was a similar situation where diplomatic missions occasionally failed, and actually there's a funny anecdote. If anybody remembers the beginning of Princess of the Universe, it's fairly heavy, so it's basically just a drum machine, and my assistant Stefan, I said, you just play the same wang 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 note, and I run it down on the harmonizer. So that's what it is till today. But on another track on the Brian, somebody else told me Brian tried for about half a week to emulate this and actually really play it. He didn't know, and eventually it was just, once I think he asked me how I did that, or how we did, or how Stefan actually did it. I said, well, it was a group effort, and there was just the you can't.
So how, as a producer, do you turn a good song into a brilliant song?
Get a brilliant artist.
That makes it sound easy. I'm sure your input into them was worse. Do you have any favourite Queen songs yourself?
I like Mustafa.
Yeah,
This was my favourite.
It's a good song. Mack, you mentioned Living on My Own there. How different was it working with Roger and Freddie as solo artists compared to Queen, like Love Kills, Strange Frontier?
Say that again, sorry.
Yeah, how different was it working with solo Freddie, solo Roger, to Queen?
Easier. Much easier, because you only had like one side to turn to, or one other opinion, as opposed to 16 different opinions being changed while opinions were being changed. So with Freddie it was never really a problem. We had our work days. I drove to the apartment, I picked him up, we went to the studio, sat down, either looking at each other. Is it an office day? Is it an off day? Or is it actually a work day? We had a work day yesterday. Maybe it's an office day. Well, I guess it's already too late, but let's take off.
Many fans would like Mr. Bad Guy re-recorded with a real orchestra like Barcelona. How do you feel about that?
Could be done.
Be interesting.
But the trouble is, wasn't there this Love Kills just recently? I'm not really like an internet savvy person too much, but I couldn't help but listening to that. and that's with an acoustic guitar. And there is, you see what can actually go wrong, or what did go wrong. It's still the vocal being sung to like a throbbing backing track, you know, loud drums and, you know, loud stuff. And now you do like a sensitive guitar picking. So, you know, the two things, it's like, you know, having a toast with jam and putting ketchup on. It just, to me, it doesn't work. I mean, you hear it. It's, you know, if Freddie would have sung it to an acoustic guitar, it would have been probably like Love of My Life, you know, that type of style. Mm-hmm. And it would have been really good. So then.
All right, okay.